All right, boys and girls, in today's math lessons, you're going to need 5 different colored either pencils or crayons or pens. I use colored pencils in the classroom, but here, obviously, I'm going to use my computer. Um, you need your math book, pages 293 and 294, or if you don't have your math book, you can simply get a piece of white copy paper and you can use that, and I'll show you in a minute how to do that, okay? But before we get started, we're going to use everything so far that we've learned about volume in this lesson. So this is all the strategies that we learned: length times width times height. All those strategies are going to be used in this lesson, okay? So first of all, we're going to talk about what volume is again. So let's review what volume is and what's true about volume. So go ahead and pause the video and write down everything you know about volume, okay, and then come back to me. Okay, if you said that volume is the amount of space a rectangular prism occupies, you are correct. How much space is taken up inside a rectangular prism? We measured in unit cubes, so how many unit cubes it takes up to fill up the rectangular prism with no gaps, overlaps. That's volume, okay? Remember that volume is made up of layers of cubes. Each layer has the same size and shape and the number of cubes that occupy it, right? And remember, it's our formula: length times width times height, okay? So in today's math lesson, we're using all that we used in the past: our length, our width, and our height. But now this one's a little bit different. So look at this shape and see what's different about this shape than the shapes that we've been dealing with so far. Okay, so pause the video, look at it, and see what's different about it. And how do you think you would find the volume of this shape? Okay, so different ways to find the volume, right? So if you said maybe breaking it apart into 2 different prisms and then finding the volume, that's exactly what we're doing. So this type of shape, we call it a composite shape because it's made up of 2 different shapes. Okay, so it's made up of 2 different shapes. So we called it composite because it's made up of 2 different shapes. So a composite solid can be made by putting together 2 or more rectangular prisms. So 2 or more rectangular prisms, 1, 2, or 1, 2. 2 shapes put together. To find the volume of them, you divide it into 2 individual prisms. So if you said that earlier, yeah, we can break it apart into 2 different prisms, find the volume of one, and then find the volume of the other one, and then combine them, add them together, right? Okay, so different ways that we can break this apart. I can break it apart right here, or I can break it apart right there, right? So I can do it here, or I can do it there. Next here, they're going to show us an example of how to break it apart and how it would look if we color coded it. So if you have your math book, they've already colored them for you. They already broke them apart and colored them for you. Here in this shape here, they broke it apart here. They colored this one in brown, and here they colored this one in blue. If you do not have your math book, this is what you're going to do right now. In just a second, after I give the directions, you can pause the video and do this, okay? So what you're going to do is if you have a white piece of paper, you would take your white piece of paper, okay? Then you would lay it on top of the screen and trace over it. So for example, if you have a Chromebook, and I'm going to pretend this is my Chromebook, right? I don't have one with me, but let me see. No, I don't have one with me. But if this was my Chromebook, my hands are my Chromebook, I would open it up, right? Well, with your Chromebook, you can actually open up all the way until it lies flat. So you can lay it down all the way flat, then put your paper on top of the screen and trace it over very lightly. You want to trace it over very lightly, so you'd be tracing all of the lines until you make these 2 different shapes, okay? If you have an iPad, same thing, pause the video and trace it. So very lightly trace it. Be careful. Don't press down too hard because you can mess up the screen. Okay, and I've done this in class. So anyways, so if you don't have that, pause the video and then come back to me. Okay. Then if you have your math book, well, they've already color coded it 2 different colors. But if you don't have your math book, after you've done that, cut it apart right here and then color code one color and then color code the other one a different color, because that way you can see both of the shapes clearly. Okay. All right. If you've done that, then we're going to label our shapes. So this one's in a blue, so I'm going to get my blue pen. And I'm going to, well, I already have my brown, so I'm going to use my brown one first. I'm going to call this volume 1, and I'm going to put a little 1 right here, volume 1. Okay, this shape, I'm going to find the volume of this shape, and then I'm going to find the volume of that shape, and then add them together. Okay, so this shape here, I'm going to get my blue, my light blue. I'm going to use light blue. So this shape here is volume 2. And I'm going to put a little 2 right there to show that's volume 2. Okay, now I went ahead and labeled my volume equals length times width times height, right? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at volume 1 and I'm going to find all my lengths. Okay, so remember, lengths going that way. So this is the length here. Let's see, let me try this better. This is a length and it goes all the way across. This is length. And I know this is also a length up here. I know that this one's also a length because this line is parallel to this line. So parallel just means they're opposite of one another, okay? So this line is opposite of that line, so they're parallel, so that's also the same, and this is also parallel, so that's also a length. Now I'm going to go ahead and just do all my lengths for both shapes. So if I know this is a length, then I know this little bitty piece here is a length, and I know that little piece right there is also a length. So those are all my lengths. Now I'm going to find all my widths for both shapes. Remember, width is going in. And I'm going to do my widths in red. If you have a red handy, you can also do it red. It's easier if you follow along. So going in, so I know this is a width right here. That's a width, which is parallel to that. And I know this one is parallel. That one is parallel to that one. So this one, that one's right across. And I know that one's also a width because it's parallel to that, and which is parallel to that one. Okay, so those are all my widths. So now I'm going to do all my heights, all my lines that are going up. So I'm going to do those in green. So I'm going to get my green, and I'm going to do all of my height. So I know this is a height. I know that's a height because that's opposite of that one. That's a height. It's opposite of that one. And I know this is a height that's going up and down, and that is my height going up and down. So if you color code it, then it's easier to get your numbers, okay? So now my volume 1 is round shape right here, okay? I'm going to get my blue marker. So this is 15 right here. This whole line going all the way across this 15. But this volume 1, my line ends right here. See where it ends? It's just this part right there. That part right there. How could I find just this length? It's not 15. 15 is the whole line going across from this end to this end. But my shape ends right here. So it's not 15. The whole thing is 15. Seeing this is parallel to that, which is parallel to that. And this is telling me that that is 3 inches. So if this little line is 3 inches, then this little line is 3 inches. Then it means this little line is 3 inches. So this little line right here is 3 inches. So this is 3 inches, but the whole thing is 15. How do you think I can find my length? So if you said subtraction, you'd be right. So if you said 15 take away 3, what's 15 take away 3? 12. So these lines right here are equal to 12. This line is 12, that line is 12, that line is 12. So what's my length of volume 1? You're right, it is 12. So I'm going to write 12 right there. Okay. What's my width? Well, the widths are the red ones that are going in. See how it's red? So red width, my red. And see there's a width, there's a width, there's a width. I kind of drew over it, but if I look in my book, I see that is 5. So my width is 5. And then my height. What is my height? My height, I'm just looking at the brown. I'm not looking at the blue. Brown right here. It is 3. So my height is 3. That is in green. So I'm going to do my height in green. 3. Okay. So now I have 12 times 5 times 3, or 5 times 3 times 12. It doesn't matter, right? Or 12 times 3 times 5. It doesn't matter which way. So I'm going to do 12 times 5, which is what? 60. You're right. And then I'm going to multiply by 3. 60 times 3 is what? If you said 180, you are correct. If you're not sure, times 5 is 60. 60 times 3, 6, 0 times 3 is 0. 6 times 3 is 18, 180. So 180 cubic inches for my volume 1. Now we need to find my volume 2. So I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to get back to my blue. So my length, I figured out already that was 3, because this was 3, this is 3. So my length for that one is 3. So my length is 3. I already had figured that one out. So I'm going to put 3 there. What's my width? Well, I found out that this line is parallel to that line, which 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 is 5. So if this line is 5, this is 5, because it's completely opposite, opposite, opposite. So my width is 5. So it's the same. So I'm going to put 5 here, width. And now I got to find my height. Now my height is the big long line here, because it's a big blue shape. And it tells me right here that my height is 9. So my height is 9. So I'm going to do that here. Okay. So now I have 3 times 5 times 9. So I can do 3 times 5 or 5 times 9, then times it by 3, however you want to do it. Okay. I'm going to do 5 times 9 is 45. 45 times 3. So I'm going to do that. So stop the video and figure that out, then come back to me. Okay, if you got 135, you'd be correct. I did 5 times 9 is 45, and then I multiplied it times 3. 5 times 3 is 15, carry my 1. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13, is 135. Now I just simply add together. I got to take the 180 plus the 135 to get my total cubic inches for both, for this composite shape. So go ahead and add 180 plus 135, then come back to me. All right, if you got 315, you'd be correct. I did 180 plus 135. 5 plus 0 is 5. 8 plus 3 is 11. Carry my 1. 1 plus 1 is 3. 315. So 315 cubic inches. Okay? So now we're going to do the bottom shape. So again, if you don't have your math book, pause the video and retrace the shape, and then come back to me. Okay. So for this one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to label my shapes. So I'm going to keep this. So now notice they cut here, right? They cut a little bit different. They cut here. So this is colored blue. So again, if you don't have your math book, shade in one figure, one color, and the other figure, another color. It's going to be helpful. I'm still going to name this V1. Doesn't matter. This could be V1. This could be V1. Doesn't matter. I'm just Doesn't matter which one's V1, which one's V2, but I'm just going to keep this one V1, and then I'm going to do this one V2, and I'm going to go to my other color to make that this shape is V2. So this shape is V2. So this one's a little bit different, right? Because this one was cut right there. They cut it right there, right? So this one, on this example, they put the shapes side by side one another. On this example, on the bottom example, they're putting one shape on top of another shape, okay? So they're just cutting it in a different way. So the same thing, I'm gonna find all my lengths, I'm gonna get my blue, and I'm gonna find all my lengths, okay? So remember, length this way. So this is a length here, so I'm gonna trace that. That's a length. That's still a length. And I'm going to go over this part blue because that's a length. This is still a length, which is parallel. And then this is still a length, and that is still a length. My lengths don't change. They still don't change the same direction, right? Now I'm going to do my widths, and I did my widths red, so I'm going to stick to my red. I'm going to label up here my formula, volume equals length in blue. And then I'm going to change it to red. So red is my width. I'm going to do my formula, length times the width. And so my widths are lines that are going in. This is still a width. That's still a width. They don't change, right? Just parallel to that, which is parallel to that, which is parallel to that. Okay? Then I'm going to do my heights. I'm going to stick to my green. So height, my green, times my height, which is green. And so my heights are still the same. This is still my height up and down, height up and down, height right here, but it ends right here. Oops. It ends right here, right? Because it's not going all the way down because it's cut this way. And there, and then this height right there. Oh, did it go? There it goes. And then my height right there. It ends right there, but this is part of the height right there of the other shape, right? So this ittle bitty is part of that. So same thing. I'm going to find my length, but in this case, in this shape, see how now my length is 15 because my shape starts here and it ends there. So in this case, my length is 15. Okay. Over here, remember, I had to cut it because my shape was being decomposed right there. But in this instance, my blue line runs from here all the way across because it's sitting right on top. So it's 15. So that did not change in this instance. So my length is 15. I'm going to put my 15 here. Now I got to find my width. So my width is in red and it's going in. Remember, it's a line that's going in. So my width for this shape here, my width for this shape here, for this shape is still the same. My width going in is 5. So I'm going to put my 5 right there. And then I'm going to find my height for that one. And my height is in green. So I'm going to get my green. So my height only goes up to right there. My shape ends there. I can see that's a 3. So my height is 3. So now I'm going to multiply that out. So you can do either 15 times 5 times 3, or 3 times 5 is 15 times 15. It doesn't matter. So go ahead and solve it any way and then come back to me so we can check our answer. Okay, if you got 225 cubic inches, you'd be correct. So I did 5 times 3, which is 15, and then I did 15 times 15. So I did 15 times 15 over here. 5 times 5 is 25. Carry my 2. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 2 is 7. I'm done with the ones. I'm done with that 2. Forgot to cross that off. Put a 0 in my ones place. 5 times 1 is 5. 1 times 1 is 1. add together. 5 plus 0 is 5. 7 plus 5 is 12. Carry my 1 to 225. Okay? So that's for my volume 1. Oops, I forgot to label this volume 1. Now I'm going to find volume 2. Volume 2, which is this rectangular prism right here. So I need to find my length for that one. So that one, my length, remember, are in blue. So that's a little piece here. So if this is 3, that's 3. Remember, we said that's 3. So this is 3. Oops, that should be in blue, right? Let me get my blue. So this should be 3 in blue. So my length is 3. Okay, because it's this little piece right here, which is parallel to that, which is parallel to that, which is 3 inches. Okay, now I need to find my width. My width is going in. Here's my width going in, nothing there. It's parallel to that, parallel to that, parallel to that, parallel to that, which is 5. So my width is 5. So I'm going to write my width. My width is 5. And now I need to find my height going up and down. Well, this whole thing is 9, right? But all I need is this part right here. But this 9 is all the way, but I need it to end right there, right? That's where it ends. So I found earlier, oh, let me change my color to green because it's my height. So I found earlier that this height was 3. So this was 3. So that means this height right here has to be 3, right? If this little piece is 3, but the whole thing is 9, what's this piece right here? So if you said 9 take away 3, 6, you would be correct. So this height is 6. The whole thing is 9, right? So 6 and a 3 makes a 9. The whole thing is 9, but just this piece is 6. So I'm going to do my 6 here. So then I have 3 times 5 times 6. And remember, it doesn't matter what order you do it in. Do it any order you want. I'm going to do 5 and my 6, which I know is 30. And then 30 times 3. Well, I know 3 times 3 is 9, and then add my 0. So that gives me 90 for my volume 2. Oh, and that should be that color. That gives me 90. So then all I got to do is add them together. So go ahead and add 225 in your 90 and see what you get. Okay, if you got 315, you'd be correct. So I did it over here. I did 225 plus 90. 5 plus 0 is 5. 9 plus 2 is 11. Carry my 1. 2 plus 1 is 315 cubic units. Notice we got the same exact answer. The only difference is the way the shape was decomposed or broken apart. Decomposed just means breaking it apart. So the only thing that changed was the decomposition of it, but I still get the same answer. So it does not matter which way you break it apart, you still get the same answer, okay? Okay, let's take a look at this solid figure, this composite solid figure. And let's figure out where we could decompose it, okay? So I don't know about you, I see 2 places we can decompose it. We could decompose it here, right there, right? That'd be one way to decompose this. And then I would have one shape here and then another shape right there. That's one way. Or I decompose it. Let me erase that line. So that's one way to decompose that shape. Or I could decompose it straight from this point here, straight up, right there. Or I could decompose it that way. And then that way I'd have one shape here, one shape here. So I'm just gonna, since I already just did it this way, I'm gonna leave it right there, okay? So now, so you can see the two different shapes, I'm going to color one shape, one color, and then I'm going to just leave the other one beige because it's already beige done for me. Now, again, if you don't have your math book, pause the video and trace this shape. Add your numbers that are given here. Add the numbers, trace the shape, and then come back to me. I'm going to shade in one of these blues since we've been using brown and blue. So I'm going to shade this shape in a light blue. Okay. Okay, as you can see, I colored this one in a light blue and I'm leaving that one a brown. So I'm going to call this one here. That's going to be my V1. That's my volume 1. This blue shape right here, and I'm doing it in that same color. And then this shape right here, I'm going to call that V2, and I'm going to do it in the brown. Brown, as close to brown as I have. This is my V2, and then you can see my two different shapes that I have. My blue shape and my brown shape, okay? So I'm going to do the same thing. Now I have my two different shapes. So now I need to find volume 1 and volume 2. So I'm going to go ahead and write my formula for volume equals length times width times height. So go ahead and do that. And remember to use them in the same colors that you've been using, since that will help you. Okay. I wrote a formula up here. I said V1 is equal to my length times my width times my height. Now, if you're having trouble remembering again which way the lines go, I have one way that I think will help you remember it, okay? So the length, see how there's the line goes like this? So the length goes like that, right? See in the W how the lines kind of go this way? The lines kind of, when you make a W, they kind of are slanted. So they could be slanted this way, could be slanted that way. So your slanted lines are your widths. Okay, that helps me remember it. And then in the height, the line going up and down, remember, that's my height going up and down. That helps me. Okay, so now I'm going to find all my lengths. So I'm going to do all my lengths for both of my shapes. I'm going to get my blue because that's what I've been using for my lengths. And I'm going to do all my lengths. Okay, so lengths this way. So here is a length right there because it's going that way. So if this is a length right here, then that means this line right here is also a length because it's opposite of that line. Remember, the opposite lines are parallel, which are also lengths. So that's a length right there. This is also, so this line here is opposite of that line, so that's also a length. So I'm going to color that one in or shade it in, not draw over it. So that's also a length. Okay. So this is parallel to that, which is parallel to that. Do I have any more other parallel lines? Yes, I do, right? Right here, that's parallel to that piece, which is parallel to that line right there, right? Those are opposite of each other. So I need to find all the op lines right there, right there, right there. So I find all my lengths. Now I need to find my widths, the lines that are going inwards, right? And those are red. So I'm going to get my red out. And I'm going to do all my widths in red, and they're going in, okay? So this one's not going in. This one's going up and down, so that's not a width. That one you can see is going inward. See how it's going in? It's going in, so that's my width. So this is a width. And this line is opposite of that line, so this is also a width right there, because this line right here is opposite of that line. See how they're opposite from one another? So that's a width. So this is opposite of that line. And then any other one opposite? Yep, the one right here. So this one right here is opposite of this line. And then this line is opposite of that line right there. So this one is opposite of that one, and then this one is opposite of that one. So that's also a width. So those are all my widths, the ones that are going in, okay? Now we need to find my heights going up and down, and I'm gonna do those green to keep it the same color consistency. So I'm gonna go to my green. Oh, this doesn't wanna go away, go away. Thank you, there it goes. Up and down. So this one's going up and down. So here is the height. Okay. So that's the height. And this line is opposite of that line. So this is a height. So those are parallel. Okay. That's opposite of that line. Any other lines opposite? Yep. The one we drew in purple here, right? So that's opposite of that line. Okay. Oops. I messed up a little bit. Let me erase that little part. Okay, oops. I got rid of it all completely, didn't I? Okay, so let me redraw it with my pen. I think it'll be easier right here. So that's the height. And notice that this height extends here all the way down. Okay, that's a height. This is a height right here, this line. So that line, this line here, this line here was parallel to this line, which is parallel to this line here. So this is also a height, okay? All right, so now I got everything labeled. So now I should be able to just come and look for my numbers. My length for volume 1, and I said this is my volume 1. This has a length of 24. So this whole thing is 24. But my first rectangular prism ends right here. So this is where it ends, right? The whole thing is 24, but it ends right there. Okay, so how can I find what this length is right here? How can I find that length? The whole thing is 24. So yes, if you said find out what this part is, right? So this part doesn't have anything, but I know this is parallel to that, which is parallel to that. And look, that says 6. That's telling me that whole thing, this part right here is 6. So if this is 6, then this part is 6. So that means this part right here also has to be 6 centimeters, right? So then this part is 6 centimeters. So if this is 6, but the whole thing is 24, then how can you figure out what just this part is? Right, 24 minus 6. What's 24 minus 6? If you said 18, you are correct. So this part right here is 18. Okay, so that means my length, so this part from here to here is 18. So my length is 18. Then I got to multiply that by my width, right? Times my width, and my width is in red. So I'm going to get my red. And my width is in red. Here we go. My width's going in, and I'm looking at this blue shape here, and look, oh, right here, this line is right here, tells me, this number tells me my width is 8. So my width is 8, okay? So that tells me that my width is 8. Now I need to find my height. I'm gonna get my pen for my height. This is really slow. Okay, So my height, remember, goes up and down, and I need the up and down for this shape. So this, nope, nope, oh, right here, 6. So my height is 6. I'm going to multiply that times 6. So again, it doesn't matter what order I multiply. I can do 18 times 8 and then multiply that by 6. Or I can do 6 times 8 is 48, multiply by 18. It doesn't matter, okay? So go ahead and do that, then come back to me. Find out what volume 1 equals, and come back to me. Okay, if you got 864 cubic centimeters, you would be correct. So I did 6 times 8 is 48, and then I multiplied it by 18. I did my work over here. I did 48 times 18. 8 times 8 is 64, carry my 6. 8 times 4 is 32, plus 6 is 38. I was done with that, put a 0 in my ones. 1 times 8 is 8, 4 times 1 is 4, added up together, 4 plus 0 is 4. 8 plus 8 is 16, carry my 1. 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 1 is 9, 864 cubic centimeters. But I'm not done, right? Because that's just for volume 1. I still need to add up volume 2. I still need to do that. Now notice I did something a little bit different here. Notice I put a 3. I put centimeters and then a 3 to the 3rd power. So that's another way to write it. Instead of writing CU centimeters, you know how normally we would put CU centimeters for cubic centimeters. Well, another way to do that, cubic means 3, cube means 3 sides. So you can just put it to the 3rd power, centimeters cubed to the power 3. That's how we would write that, okay? All right, so now let's find volume 2 using our same formula. So now I need to find my length, my width, and my height for volume 2. All right, so volume 2. Got my formula. Volume 2 equals length times width times height. Remember, length, width, height. Okay, so now I got to find, this is my volume 2 shape. I got to find my length. So in last one, we figured out that my length here is 6, right? Because remember when we found volume 1, we had to subtract, and we found out this was 6 because this is parallel to this, which is parallel to this. So I have my length of 6. So my length is 6 times my width is going in. You can't see it here, but my widths I know are all my reds. So I know this is part of my shape, which is my width here, which is parallel to this, which is parallel to that. But that doesn't give me anything. There's no measurement here, no measurement here, no measurement here. Oh, but I can look at the shape here, which has the same width. So this is parallel to that, which is parallel to that, which was my 8. So my width is 8. Oh, got to change my color, right? Did I change it or not? This is so delayed. Oh, yep, I did not change it. So let me change the color. Let me erase that. Erase that. And I'm going to change it to red. Maybe today, right? This is so delayed. Now, across, erase my X times, I forgot what it was, 8 times 8, right? All right, then I need to find my height. Look how delayed it is. It's taking forever. Oh, there it goes. Times my height. So my height is in green. So I'm going to change my pen color to green. And my height is going up and down. And I notice it's this whole line here. And they tell me that it's 16. There's my height times 16 times 16. Okay, so now I got to do that. So again, it doesn't matter. Commutative property. When's it going to appear? There it goes. Commutative property tells me that it doesn't matter what I multiply first, right? I can do 16 times 8 and then multiply it times 6, or I can do 6 times 8 and multiply by 16. I'm going to do 6 times 8, which I know is 48, and then I'm going to multiply that by 16. So go ahead and figure what that is and then come back to me. All right, so I did 48 times 16. I did 6 times 8 is 48, and then multiply by 16. 6 times 8 is 48, carry my 4. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 4 is 28. Done with that, done with that. Put a 0 in my placeholder. 1 times 8, 4 times 1 is 4. Added it, 8 plus 0 is 8. 8 plus 8 is 16. Carry my 1. 4 plus 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. I got 768 cubic centimeters, okay? So now to find the volume, I need to add my 864 plus my 768. Go ahead and stop the video and figure that out and see what you get. Okay, so I added 768 plus 864 on the side here. 8 plus 4 is 12, carry my 1. 6 plus 6 is 12, plus my 1 is 13, carry my 1. 8 plus 7 is 15, plus 1 is 16. So I got 1,632 cubic centimeters. Okay, 1,632 cubic centimeters. All right, these take a while, right? But if you just take it slow, step by step, we can get through them. All right. All right. So let's look at our next problem. All right. Here is our next example. So in this figure, where should we decompose it? Okay. So couple of different options, right, where we can decompose it. Oh, forgot to erase some of that blue. There we go. All right, so a couple of different places I can decompose it. So if I drew a line, let me get my colored line here, let me get my pen. I could draw a line here and decompose it there. But then I wouldn't be done, would I? Because this is so delayed. There it is. But now watch. This is still not one shape. This is one shape, but then I would have to cut it again here. But now I would have to find volume 1, volume 2, and volume 3. Okay? So I don't want to do that. Do you see any other place where we can cut it? While I'm erasing, look at the figure and see, is there any other place I can cut it? Yeah, so if you said to cut it right here, you would be correct. Because then, if I cut it right there, now I'm going to have one shape at the bottom and one shape at the top, right? So I can have volume 1, volume 2. So I'm going to go ahead and color in one of my shapes. So let me change my color here. Since we've been using blue a lot for one of the colors, I'm going to change my pen to blue, the light blue. So I'm going to color this shape in here, that light blue, and I'm going to leave this one tan. Okay, so go ahead. Again, if you don't have your math book, pause the video, trace it, and then color in your different shapes. If you don't have your math book, color one shape, one color, and the other shape, a different color, and then come back to me. Okay, as you can see, I went ahead and colored in this top one light blue, and I'm calling this one volume 1. And then I went ahead and labeled this one volume 2. So I now need to find my volume 1, and remember volume is equal to length times width times height. So go ahead and write your formula out. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So volume. Okay, so I wrote my formula out here. Volume 1 is equal to length times width times height. So now go ahead and label all of your lengths and then come back to me. So pause the video, draw in your lengths, and then come back and then we'll compare. All right, so let's see if you got the same lengths I did. So this is my bottom length, right? Straight across. This is parallel to that, which is parallel to this, which is parallel to this, which is also this is parallel to that, which is parallel, this part is parallel to that. So those are all my lengths. So make sure you have all the same length as I do, okay? Then do your widths. Remember the ones going in. So go ahead and pause the video and do your widths. Okay, so here are my widths. So this one's going in. This is also going in. That's parallel. This is parallel. This one's parallel. That one's parallel. And that one's parallel. So those are all the ones that are going in and that are parallel to each other. Then find your heights. So pause the video and color in all of your heights and then come back and we'll compare. Okay, so here are my heights. So going up and down, here's a height, here's a height, here's a height. Then on the top shape, here's a height, here's a height, here's a height, going up and down. So now let's see if you can find the numbers for volume 1. So see if you can find your length, your width, and your height for volume 1. So pause the video, see if you can length, width, height, and then come back to me. All right, so if you found a length of 4 for your first volume, you'd be correct because this whole bottom one for B2 is 14, but you can see this is parallel to that, which is parallel to that, which is parallel to that, which is the 4. So 4 is our length, our width, so right here, the red, the width, nothing there, but it's parallel to that, parallel to that, parallel to that, which is 5, which is 5. And my height, so I need the height, and right there is a height, and it tells me it's 2. That's a height, so 2. So I got 4 times 5 times 2. So 4 times 5 is what? 20, right? 20 times 2 is 40. So volume 1 is equal to 40 cubic feet. So I'm going to put volume to 40 cubic feet to the third power. Okay. And it's so delayed, isn't it? There it goes. So volume 1 is equal to 40 cubic feet. 4 times 5 is 20. 20 times 2 is 40. So I found volume 1, which is 40. So I'm going to put volume is equal to my first volume, which is 40 plus, I'm going to find my second volume. Okay. So, make that look like more like a 4. So go ahead and do the same thing for volume 2. So write down your formula for volume 2 and see if you can find all the numbers that go there, and then come back to me and then we will compare. Okay, so for volume 2, if you got a length of 14, you're right, the length's right here, clearly 14. The width right there, 5, clearly 5, and the height right here, 3 times 3. So the length should have gotten 14, the width is 5, and the height is 3. So I'm going to multiply either 14 times 5 and then times 3 or 5 times 3, either way. So go ahead, figure it out, and then see what you get for volume 2. I think I'm going to do 14, and I'm going to do 5 times 3 is 15. I'm going to multiply 14 times 15. Okay, so pause the video and figure that out. Okay, so if you got 210 cubic feet, you would be correct. So I did 14 times 15. Oh, there it goes. 210 cubic feet. Oh, that does not look like a good one, is it? Sorry, boys and girls, this is really hard to write with my mouse. It's really hard to write with the mouse. Let me erase that completely. Let me try rewriting it again. It's really hard writing with my mouse. My 2, 1, and it takes forever. It's like, come on, catch up. 210, there it goes. 210, come on, 0. There it goes, 210 cubic feet. So I did 14 times 5 times 3 is 15. So I did 14 times 15. 5 times 4 is 20. Carry my 2. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 2 is 7. I'm done with that. So I put a 0 in my placeholder. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 plus 1 is 1 times 1, not plus 1, is 1. 0 plus 0 is 0. 7 plus 4 is 11. Carry my 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. I got 210. Now I got to add them both together. My first volume, I had 40 cubic feet. And my second volume is 210 cubic feet. 210 plus 40 gives me 250 cubic feet. Okay? All right. Next, we're going to do some word problems.